Hello and welcome to the Sunshine Veggie Show. I'm Emma and I'm your host on this podcast. So the Sunshine Veggie Show is about everything to do with life and how to live life to your absolute fullest. So I hope you enjoy this episode and thank you for tuning in to the Sunshine Veggie Show. Thank you for tuning in to my first ever podcast show. I hope you like it. This is a little bit background about me and where I've come from and maybe where I'm going in the future. I just wanted to share a little bit about myself so you get an understanding of why I want to do this podcast and the reasoning behind it. So when I was 23, I set up my own business and it was a really good experience. I had it for 15 years. And we travelled the world with it, it was really good. We did lots of fun things, we had massive highs and also massive learning curves as well. So that was going okay. And then in March 2015, my daughter got diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia and I had to stop everything to care for her. And it was a real tough time. And we were in and out of hospital for such a long time and we just had to deal with quite a lot of stuff. But, we went through the 2-year treatment programme and then she had it all clear in July 2017, which was like one of the best feelings in the world. And obviously for the next sort of 12 to 18 months, maybe, we just did whatever she wanted. She had lots of fun to make up for all the time that she was in treatment, wouldn't do anything. So then in October 2018, actually, it's really crazy, but actually today, 2 years ago today, she actually relapsed and it was one of the most horrific things to go through again because a relapse with a cancer diagnosis is serious and especially with ALL because obviously your life expectancy chances go down, with a relapse. So it was pretty tough. She had leukemic bleeds on the brain, which we had to have a CT scan in the hospital. And then we were rushed straight down for an MRI scan, which was one of the worst things that I've ever experienced as a mum, because it was the first time in my life that I couldn't do anything to help her, and especially with the pain. And I knew at that point she'd had a relapse and I just broke down in the MRI room and it was one of the most horrific experiences of my life that will live with me forever. So obviously after that we were based up in the Noah's Ark Hospital in Cardiff for 6 months. And it was a real tough battle because when Megan had to have the chemotherapy put through her spine in a lumbar puncture, it literally, because it had to get rid of the leukemic bleeds in the brain, it sort of paralysed her and she lost the use of everything. So she had to relearn to do everything again. So not only she was fighting a relapse of cancer, she was also having to learn to do the basic things you learn as a baby. She had to redo them all again. So that was a really tough time. But she set herself a goal. And this is why she's one of my biggest inspirations in life, because nothing, however hard it was, she'd always try her best to do it. So she set herself a goal to walk again by Christmas of 2018. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because she became ill over Christmas and her immune system went right down. She picked up quite a lot of illnesses and she had to be on high dose morphine for the pain. It was pretty bad. But then in the January, she picked up a little bit and we went with an amazing physiotherapy team that she had. They were so good with her. We went to the specialist unit where she used to do her physiotherapy sessions every day. And she actually walked with the aid of bars. And I filmed it and she never normally let me film her, but I had to film it because it's one of the most emotional things I've ever seen in my life. And to see her actually walk again was it was just amazing. When I ever feel low or I can't do something, I watch that video and that gives me the strength to carry on, because no matter how hard it is, you can always find that one little thing to keep pushing. And that's what she taught me. So about 2 weeks later, Meg had a cardiac arrest in front of me. She deteriorated. We had to call like the resus team. It was real bad, to be honest with you. And then she got taken to intensive care, where she stayed for a month, and she never really recovered. She was heavily sedated because of the breathing apparatus that they had to use. And I think 2 days before she passed away, it was, you just knew something wasn't right, and you just knew she was coming to the end, and it was so hard. And then on the 28th of February in 2019, I had to make the decision with her dad to turn her life support machine off. And that was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. And, to do that to somebody who you've given birth to, you've watched grow up from a baby to a beautiful young teenager, is just one of the hardest things that any parent would ever have to go through, and should never have to go through it, because you never want to see your child in that way. And it was one of the hardest decisions, but also it was something that I knew, because she couldn't fight no more. Her body shut down. She developed something called HLH, which is when your own immune system turns on your body and starts eating all the cells in your body. So it just shuts yourself down. So when we turned the machine off, and obviously she passed away, I just sat with her for a little while, and she just looked calm, and she wasn't suffering anymore. And even though I was obviously distraught, I knew she was at peace. And I think there's only so much you can take of that kind of pain. And as a mum, however hard it is for me, when I think back, I always think of the suffering, and I'd never want anyone to suffer the way that she suffered. So after that, it's been a tough sort of 18 months for me. There's massive highs and massive lows. I've had to make big changes in my life going forward. I've had to make big decisions, because obviously I'm in uni at the moment. So I had to stop that for a year to look after Meg. So what I did was I gave myself a goal to go back to uni last September, and everyone told me it was too soon, but I thought I need some form of structure in my life, because if I haven't got structure, then it's going to be really hard to get over the grief and to get some sort of normality back in my life. So I pushed myself to go back to uni, and even though it was really hard the first semester to get into it after a year off, and also dealing with the loss of Meg, but I pushed myself, I gave it all I could, and I passed my second year, which was like the best feeling in the world this year, because I thought I can do it. And every time I thought I couldn't do it, I thought of Meg, how hard she fought, and I thought I owe it to her to do this degree, because she was so proud of me for going back, obviously as a mature student, to do a degree. And it inspired her, because she wanted to go to uni to do photography, because she was a really good photographer, and she travelled to do photography. I was very blessed by all the stuff that she's left behind and all the amazing memories that she's left behind. So through my grief, obviously I've done a lot of self-development prior to that anyway, for about 12 years, and done various courses and different things. And obviously at the moment I'm training to be, but I'm nearly qualified as a level 7 coach and mentor. So I've always thought, I wanted to help businesses. That was my biggest goal. I want to help small businesses. So through my grief, I found a channel to help people, and I got obviously more into mindfulness more than what I normally did. And then I started crystal healing last year on myself. And then I did a crystal healing practitioner course, and I absolutely fell in love with it. So I started doing it on my friends, and they just loved the way it made them feel. And then I moved on to doing some clients, and I was getting such good feedback. So I carried that on, and I've been doing that now for a year, and I just absolutely love helping people and helping people understand about your energy systems and how, you can become depleted as a person. So you could, looking after yourself on the outside is not enough. You've got to look after yourself on the inside as well, because if you're not taking care of what's going on inside emotionally, you can't heal on the outside. And this is where you get a lot of injuries and stresses to your body. And I want to help people to understand that. So with this podcast, it's literally going to be about everything in my life, really. So food, which is a real big part of my life, and food to help you keep your energy levels high as well, especially if you're going through traumatic times in your life. You need to eat and you need to look after yourself. I'll talk about business as well, because it's been part of my life for such a long time, and I've got so much value I can share with others who are interested in business as well. And I just think it's nice to pay forward what you learn and to share as much value with others. And also mindfulness and energy, that's one of the biggest things. And I want to teach people how to get out of their heads and to live in the moment, because a lot of us don't live in the moment. We live in the past or the future. We never ever appreciate where we are right now, this moment in time. So this is one of my biggest reasons for doing this podcast. And some of the guests I got coming on, they've had some amazing journeys themselves and been through quite a lot of things. They've had big ups and downs. So I think help you to see that it's not just you, because I used to feel quite isolated. I think, oh, it's only me who feels this way, you know, I'm crazy or whatever. But it's not. And I think the more you reach out, the more support you can get, and the more people around you who are supportive of you, because I think you can be with people who are quite negative and you still love them and you still want to be with them, but you need to limit your time with them kind of people, because they lower your vibration. And when you're with them all the time, you just become like them. So sometimes, however hard it is, you really do have to step away and look after yourself. Because if you think about it, if you don't look after yourself, you can't look after anyone else. So the simple thing is to take care of you first before you take care of anyone else. And that's not selfish. That's really healthy. And that's what we've got to learn to do, because we've been taught so many different things that's not good for us by mainstream media and false information that gets published online. But we really need to start working from the inside and work our way out. And then we will actually live true versions of ourselves. And that is when we can live a fulfilled life. So I wanted to keep this episode quite short. And I didn't want, obviously to bombard you with a lot of stuff. I just wanted to give you a little brief introduction about me, because obviously some people only see what I post on social media, which is just a very brief snapshot of my life. There's quite a lot more to me and I'll be sharing more each week with you. And I hope you like this episode. Please, if you can, give me some feedback. I'd love to hear more. So my next guest as well will be a real cool guy. His name is Ryan Stevens, and Ryan has been my coach, helping me to do this podcast, because I've had massive procrastination over it. It's been in the pipeline for like 18 months and I've just put myself off it and not done it. And Ryan's the one that's given me the push and made me accountable. And Ryan's story is amazing. He's like an ultra marathon runner. The other week he ran 50 miles just because he could. He's such an amazing guy, and he's a mindset coach, and he can absolutely transform the way you think. So he's going to be my next guest. So thank you for listening, and I hope I catch you on the next episode. Have a great week and try and live life to the absolute fullest this week. Do something that scares you and do something that you've always wanted to do, because that is when you actually really live the best version of your life. So thanks again for listening, and I hope you join me on the next episode. Have a great week, everyone.